You got to be real careful around here. You know, you get beat up if you don't believe what everybody believes. This is like 30s Germany. I don't know what happened.
I turned down a movie because I didn't want to get the jab. You know, I turned down $9 million.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself.
The constant wokeness is dividing us, but not everyone's falling in line. Some celebrities are pushing back, fighting for free speech and calling out madness. Stay tuned because things are heating up. Let's dive right in, starting with free speech.
Free speech is actually is extremely important, and it's bizarre that we've come to this point where, free speech used to be a left or liberal value, and yet we see from the in quotes left a desire to actually censor, that seems crazy. I mean, I think we should be extremely concerned about anything that undermines the First Amendment. There's a reason for the First Amendment. The First Amendment is because people came from countries where they could not speak freely, and where saying certain things would get you thrown into prison. And they were like, well, we don't want that here. And by the way, in many parts of the world, including parts of the world that people might think are relatively similar to the United States, the speech laws are draconian.
Elon Musk warns of a growing threat to free speech, a core value under fire in today's woke culture. Joining him, Rowan Atkinson raises the alarm, calling out the risks ahead.
Free expression just below the need to sustain life itself. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested for whatever laws exist to contain free expression because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile. Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay. Or the teenager arrested for calling the Church of Scientology a cult. Or the cafe owner arrested for displaying passages from the Bible on a TV screen. When I heard of some of these more ludicrous offences and charges, I remembered that I had been here before in a fictional context. I once did a show called Not the 9 O'Clock News some years ago, and we did a sketch where Griff Rhys-Jones played Constable Savage, a manifestly racist police officer to whom I, as his station commander, is giving a dressing down for arresting a black man on a whole string of ridiculous, trumped-up and ludicrous charges. The charges for which Constable Savage arrested Mr. Winston Kadogo of 55 Mercer Road were these: walking on the cracks in the pavement, walking in a loud shirt in a built-up area during the hours of darkness, and one of my favorites, walking around all over the place. He was also arrested for urinating in a public convenience and looking at me in a funny way. Who would have thought that we would end up with a law that would allow life to imitate art so exactly?
Rowan Atkinson warns that restricting free expression threatens society's core freedoms. Where Dana White's message rings clear, defending free speech isn't just optional, it's essential.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about, you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash? Free speech. Gonna control what people say? Gonna tell people what to believe? Gonna tell people... I don't can tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them.
Dana White defends free speech, emphasizing it's about allowing all voices, even the uncomfortable ones. Dr. Phil backs this crucial point.
It's so interesting to me that people say, well, we have free speech here, we have First Amendment protections, and it's not the government that's trying to muzzle us. We're doing it to each other.
Dr. Phil emphasizes that cancel culture isn't only driven by external forces, it's self-inflicted. peer pressure is stifling voices in society. And Musk points out the deeper issues.
Really apocalyptic terms.
Yeah.
You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
Yeah, so I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. So, those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's often anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even the questioning is bad. So, another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously, people have tried to cancel you many times.
Many times.
Yeah, I mean,
every week.
Yeah.
Musk warns that woke culture is stifling free speech and individual achievement. And if this mindset continues, society may collapse under the weight of its own contradictions.
But now, to survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar. You have to pretend that you think fat is beautiful. You have to pretend to be race obsessed. You have to pretend that you think Dylan Mulvaney is a woman and should be included in female spaces. We are being told that you have to lie repeatedly in order to survive in corporate culture.
Candace argues it all traces back to Harvard. She suggests that once you're molded by Harvard, you're practically set to adopt a whole range of beliefs, regardless of their impact.
She brought this idea to Bud Light, but I do believe that she was conditioned. I mean, she went to Harvard. What do we think goes on? What do we believe is the sociology of people that graduate Harvard? They're basically being told that this is the way that they should think.
She doesn't stop there. Candace questions why society allowed Dylan Mulvaney to go unchecked for so long, wondering how such behavior was tolerated and accepted without any real challenge or accountability.
There's one more thing I want to say here, Tucker, because it's deeply upsetting to me. There is a post-analysis that needs to happen here on why it is that Dylan Mulvaney, for 365 days, was able to openly mock women, to openly take the spaces of women, to get contracts from Ulta Beauty, to take, contracts from other women and all these sponsorships, and nobody cared. Until suddenly, Dylan Mulvaney traversed into a male space, and it became unacceptable. Why? Because men don't tolerate this level of lies in the way that women do, right? We respond emotionally and not rationally. We should have been the ones to put an end to Dylan Mulvaney, but we didn't because we feel bad. And shouldn't we just feel bad for men that want to be women and mock us and put on lipstick and pigtails and call themselves a girl? I think not, Tucker, but woke culture says yes.
Candace argues that women have let emotions take the lead. And now we can't even say women anymore. It's been replaced with menstruating person.
Oh, gosh. Isn't it so sad that we have to talk about basic biology, especially when we're dealing with somebody who's a 32-year-old congresswoman? I'm sorry, did I say congresswoman? I meant Congress menstruating person, because apparently we're no longer allowed to say women. I mean, this is so ridiculous. And here's what's really funny. She immediately cripples her own argument here, right? Her argument is that the evil GOP, they're taking away actions that women were allowed to take via abortion. But she's immediately saying something worse. Forget the actions women can take. Are women even allowed to exist anymore? This is what her side represents. It is so radical to not even be able to formulate the word woman because you feel too scared, because you need to accommodate all of these various genders, and trans people are also women and this is also women. No, women are women. If you cannot enter a debate about abortion and even identify what it means to be a woman, you have no place in that debate.
Candace sees AOC as a gift to the Republican Party, believing she strengthens their political strategy and helps them gain support.
She shows people just how radical the left has become. In fact, there was never this much conversation about how radical the left is until she entered in and she said, I'm a socialist. She started stomping around. And so people may not like her platform, but I think it is for the better. When she does something like she did today and she says, oh, the patriarchy and patriarchal ideas and all of this stuff that they're saying, and they're reducing us to a uterus, while at the same time not recognizing that she's reducing women to the idea that we're just menstruating persons, which is way worse. I'd rather be a uterus than be referred to as a menstruating person. It's good for our side. People need to see this. People need to see how radical the left has become.
Candace argues AOC's words highlight society's absurdity. She'd rather be called a uterus than a menstruating person. Rejecting political correctness, she advocates for shame and bluntly calls out bad behavior. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get the latest videos from Woke Watch.